Coming up on News 36 tonight, President Reagan says he is not trying to ransom American hostages, but confirms months of secret diplomacy with Iran.
We'll also have an update on a family who's coping with the cold and doing a little better tonight because of some very thoughtful people. I'm Ann Forward.
And I'm Tanya Cook.
And I'm Randy Jackson. We'll tell you what conditions are like tonight in Austin as News 36 continues.
This is KTVV, Channel 36 in Austin. News 36 tonight with Tanya Cook, Bob Demers, Rick Pond, and Adelaide, South Australia's Ann Fullwood.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us again. Speculation's finally been brought to an end tonight. President Reagan went on national television and he confirmed that he's been carrying on secret talks with Iran.
Mr. Reagan said he has been involved in diplomatic negotiations with Iran for 18 months to try and win the release of American hostages in Lebanon. Robin Lloyd tells us more.
The president tried to explain his secret arms deal with Iran. He admitted there had been arms shipments to the Tehran government, but he denied that these were part of any direct trade for hostages.
The United States has not swapped boatloads of plane loads of American weapons for the return of American hostages, and we will not.
What the president described was a secret U.S. effort begun 18 months ago to influence events in Iran and to set up contacts with moderate elements opposed to the Ayatollah Khomeini. He acknowledged he authorized small shipments of defensive weapons to Iran, but he said these were meant only as a good faith gesture.
These modest deliveries taken together could easily fit into a single cargo plane. They could not, taken together, affect the outcome of the 6-year war between Iran and Iraq.
But what the president avoided mentioning specifically was the U.S. arms embargo against Iran and how secretly he had received a waiver from the Justice Department.
The actions I authorized were and continue to be in full compliance with federal law.
But key congressional leaders were still critical.
This has been handled in a way where the White House has been more willing to trust some of the factions in Iran than they were to trust the Republican and Democratic leadership of the House and the Senate.
Well, we went out and urged our allies, urged other countries to honor an embargo on arms to a terrorist state, while at the same time we were violating that embargo.
In the speech, the president admitted he had sent former National Security Advisor Robert McFarlane on a secret mission to Iran last May to open a dialogue. McFarlane indicated in return for arms, the U.S. had expected Iran not to allow more American hostages to be taken.
We would not tolerate the continuation of terrorism against the United States.
The president tried to portray his secret diplomacy with Iran as a success, saying some hostages have come home. But his speech tonight doesn't change the fact that the White House authorized shipments of arms to Iran, something which many of our European and Mideastern allies believe is bad policy. Robin Lloyd, NBC News at the White House.
Dallas billionaire H. Ross Perot is about to take on some work for the president. He's going to investigate the Vietnam prisoner of war issue. He's going to try and find out if any U.S. servicemen are still being held captive in Southeast Asia. But Perot wouldn't give details about his new mission. He has successfully located captives in the past. This time he's going to be helped by a former Vietnam POW. They'll then make recommendations to the president. Today, for the first time since his release, former hostage David Jacobson has held a press conference. He tried right away to head off questions about any connection between his freedom and the shipment of arms to Iran. He was asked if he would return to Lebanon to help free those remaining hostages.
If Terry Waite felt that my going back to Beirut would help free the other hostages, I would go immediately without fear.
Jacobson says he's no anger or hatred for anyone in Lebanon. He said he was never physically mistreated.
In the Philippines, a supporter of President Corazon Aquino was found shot and stabbed to death today. President Aquino was just returning from a trip to Japan, a trip she made with hesitation because of rumors members of her government might stage a coup. The man killed was president of the People's Party. He had threatened general strikes by his party if a plot against the Aquino government occurred. Here in the U.S., the nation's Roman Catholic bishops wrapped up their annual 4-day session on a note of unity. The 300 bishops attending the meeting approved a pastoral letter on the U.S. economy. It calls for fundamental changes in the economy to better meet the needs of the poor.
A Texas connection for London's number 10 Downing Street. The son of British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher has become engaged to Diane Bergdorf of Dallas. She's the daughter of a millionaire Dallas car dealer. The announcement was made in London today at the Prime Minister's official residence. Diane's 25, Mark Thatcher's 33. The couple met in Dallas, where Mark works for the British sports car company Lotus. When we come back, we'll have an update on a family who's really feeling the effects of this cold weather.
But tonight things are a little better. We'll tell you why.
And I'm Randy Jackson, live along IH-35, and we'll tell you about what kind of road conditions you can expect tonight and tomorrow at rush hour when News 36 continues.
On News 36 at 6, we introduced you to Lillian Young, a grandmother with 5 small children. Tonight, Lillian and her family are victims of the cold weather.
They live in a subdivision called Cadillac Drive just east of Austin, and they have no running water, electricity, or heat.
After airing that story, we received several calls from viewers wanting to help. News 36's Valerie Williams has an update on that.
It's cold tonight, isn't it? Yes, ma'am. It's not often as a reporter that you get to make someone's day. And actually, it wasn't me at all. It was the kindness of a few caring strangers that dropped off bundles of blankets tonight at our station.
Praise the Lord. We're glad.
There is no heat here in Lillian's house, so when the temperature drops, Lillian and her grandchildren usually sleep on the floor, curled up under a few thin blankets and a dirty old piece of carpet. Tonight, thanks to the new blankets, she got to throw that piece of carpet away. But that's not what made her cry.
You know, you don't feel like crying, but when somebody do something for you, and they don't have to do these things. You know, they don't have to do these things. So, you know, it's a blessing from the Master.
Everywhere around her, there are signs of poverty. The light from our television camera can be deceptive. Usually, this is their only source of light, a bulb on an extension cord that runs from a neighbor's house. But tonight, it's easy for Lillian to ignore that and the fact that her shoes still have holes in them. She feels lucky, and so do I, thanks to the kindness of strangers. Valerie Williams, News 36, tonight.
Well, it sure would be better for Lillian and her family if it didn't get any colder tonight.
That's for certain, Tonya. And we have meteorologist Bob Demers to tell us, Bob. What's
it's getting colder. Temperatures dropped from 36 at 6 o'clock down to 34 right now, and I think within a couple of hours it could drop close to freezing. Now, the question in everybody's minds is, well, is it going to ice up tonight? Well, right now, there's nothing going on around the city. It's dry out there. And as we take a look at the radar, we'll show you that rain and a mixture of sleet and freezing rain to the north of Austin and mostly rain south and east. That's all moving away from the city. However, there are a few areas of light freezing rain and light sleet around Johnson City. Those perhaps later on tonight could move through the city. However, I think the big problems with driving should be to the west of the city. Now, with us now we have Randy Jackson. And Randy, you look a little cold right now. You're out on I-35 and what? Where exactly are you right now?
Let me tell you something, Bob. I'm here at I-35, and I'll tell you, I want to know why you're not out here at I-35. It is cold out tonight. How did you draw the large straw tonight?
Well, I don't know. I mean, after 5 or 6 tries, you finally end up inside.
I guess rank has its privileges. You know, as you said before, it may be chilly out tonight, but here, at least on I-35, it is dry. Further west, though, you can expect some rain and freezing sleet as you head out of town. And driving, we understand, is dangerous in some spots. Now, Highway Department officials are also warning us to take it easy, both tonight and tomorrow. They're warning that there may be icy spots all up and down within the area. Now, the cold snap is affecting a lot of people in a lot of ways. There's one group of teenagers who's actually happy that it's cold out. Now, students at Austin's McCallum High were excused early from classes today because it was too cold in their building. School administrators didn't think it was going to get this cold, so they turned off heaters so they could make repairs at the school. The students don't have to go back to class until Tuesday, when all of the school's improvements and repairs will be complete. Now, while these students are relishing the cold, some merchants are enjoying it too. And News 36's Kim Janella found 2 who are loving every minute of it.
When the temperature drops in Austin, people here start bundling up. But these ladies aren't pulling out last year's winter clothes. They've hurried down to Coslow's to pick out the latest in fashionable furs.
I don't like that color. I use blue.
This is one Austin area business that thrives on cold weather. The manager here says they've been selling 10 to 12 coats a day.
Oh, we love it. We pray for cold weather. We're always calling the weatherman, asking him when it's going to get cold.
So the cold weather has people rushing out to buy warmer clothes, but the change in climate is also affecting another business, the travel industry. Because while some people are jumping in their cars and rushing to the shopping malls, other people are catching a plane and getting out of town altogether. Travel agencies all over town say they've been booking beach trips for people who want to get out of the cold weather.
Just today, the phones have really been ringing for cruise inquiries. And
Susan Rogers has been in the travel industry for 17 years, and she too looks forward to the jump in business during the cold months.
That it does generate interest in, you realize, what's winter? Well, what am I going to do? What are my travel plans and that sort of thing? So they're either going to cruise, or they're going to go to beaches, or they're going to head for the mountains and ski.
So while some people will be doing their best to survive what little winter we have here in Austin, there are some business owners wishing we could have weather like this all year. Kim Janala, News 36, Tonight.
This is a cold Randy Jackson back here live on IH-35, and as we told you, it's a good idea if you've got to drive out tonight or as you're going out in rush hour tomorrow to take your time. There may be some icy patches in spots. And Bob, I'll tell you, I left Denver to get away from this cold. What are you doing to me tonight?
Hey, how about the sunny south? What do you think, Randy?
I think there's definitely room for improvement.
We'll take care of it, but not before the weekend, and I'll be back in a minute with the forecast. It's going to be another night to bring in the dog and bring in the cat. It is cold outside right now. Winds are still out of the north, and the temperature is dropping off. Right now we're at 34 degrees. The afternoon high only 38. Morning low below freezing. First time this year at 31. And north winds 13. Dew point is low 18. Humidity at 51%. Barometer fairly high right now. It's starting to fall up a little bit. And rainfall, sleet, the precipitation totals for today totaling up to just 1/100th of an inch. Year total 28.07. There is still precipitation falling outside. Most of this now is to the east and southeast of Austin. This stuff down here is all rain, but up to the north and northeast, up towards ACT, which is Waco, some of this is rain, some of it's freezing rain, some of it's sleet. The stuff up here, mostly freezing rain and sleet, and a couple of areas of sleet to the west of JCY. That's Johnson City. And everything is moving to the east at about 20 miles per hour. As we look outside at the temperatures across the state right now, the freezing line, let me back out for a minute, show you the freezing line. It stretches down to the south of Waco, and it's about, let's say, 40 miles to the north and northwest of Austin, and to the north of San Antonio. San Antonio right now 35 degrees. Abilene 28, reporting some freezing rain. Dallas, the temperature 31, but it's dry up here. What we're looking at on the satellite pictures, a lot of clouds streaming in from the southwest. Remember, at the surface, we have a very strong, intense high-pressure system centered right over Texas. The wind circulating clockwise around it out of the north-northeast, but up around 2 miles high, the air is coming out of the southwest, and the air 2 miles high is around 45 degrees. It's warmer than it is at the ground, and when that happens, when it causes rain, the rain drops through the cold air near the surface. Some of it freezes, and that's what we saw today, a little bit of sleet around the city, and that's happening to the north and northwest. There's a little bit of an upper-level low sitting right out here. This may drift across central Texas late tonight, early tomorrow morning, perhaps giving us another shot at precipitation. But as a rule, I think what we're going to be looking at is just a light precipitation. No major problems for Austin, but to the north and west, where temperatures already below freezing. They've already seen some icing of the roads. You'll have to look out during rush hour tomorrow morning. Temperatures this afternoon, teens to the north for highs, and Brownsville only made it up to 45 degrees. The map for tomorrow, again, high pressure right on top of us, but with that upper level low moving through the southwest across Texas, skies will remain cloudy, a little bit of rain in the morning, and then I think by tomorrow afternoon, skies started to clear up a little bit, and a slow warming trend through the weekend. Our forecast overnight tonight, it's going to be a cold one once again. Cloudy skies with light rain and sleet mixed to the north and northwest, icy roads north and west. Here in Austin, I don't think we'll see any problems. And the temperatures here near 32, 28 to 31 to the west. Tomorrow, chance of a little bit of light rain early in the morning, possibly mixed with sleet northern sections, then cloudy and a little milder, highs near 46. And the weekend temperatures in the 50s to close to 60 Saturday, Sunday, a slow warming trend up to 66. And rush hour forecast. It's going to be cool, maybe a few light sprinkles. And if you're coming in from the north and west to Austin tomorrow, be prepared. There will be some icy spots in hill country.
Keep warm, folks.
We'll do that.
I say. Yes. Be careful. Next in sports, Rick has a look at things to come for the defending national champion Lady Longhorns.
And it's an uphill battle for Travis as they enter the high school football playoffs. Another orange and white game, and this time it's the Lady Longhorns.
'Tis the season for round ball. I think the Lady Longhorns are going to be pretty darn good again this year. UT had its first women's basketball signee today. Highly sought after Amy Claiborne of Canyon, a 5'7" guard, inked with Coach Jody Conrad today. Tonight at the Irwin Center, we got an early look at this year's edition of the defending national champions. They held the annual orange-white scrimmage, and Jody Conrad looking for someone to replace All-American Cammie Etheridge. The leading candidate, perhaps, Beverly Williams, stopping and popping there off the break, 2 of her 18 points. NCAA tourney MVP Clarissa Davis, back for her sophomore year, looks to be in old form with a spinner off the glass. She had 22. For the Orange, redshirt junior transfer Penny Hall feeds junior college transfer Dorothea Conwell. Nice touch there on the jumper. Highly touted freshman Susan Anderson also looked good there, the bucket inside. And Jody's looking for a number of these young ones to contribute this year. A couple of more here. 6'8" Ellen Bayer with a block, then newcomer Aaron Ferris to Conwell for the layup. Whites beat the Orange 91-81, and earlier today, Jody hinted this team still has a long way to go.
I'm not going to say that we are without talent, because we certainly do have talent and we certainly do have potential. But I think it will be slow go early on, and if you are skeptical, if you think that's just coaching rhetoric, I invite you to come to practice any day of the week from 1:30 to 3:30, and you'll see that we're not just making giant strides toward becoming a very competitive ball team.
Well, in the NBA tonight, just one Texas team was in action. That was San Antonio. Spurs hosting Cleveland this evening, and they break a 3-game losing streak with a 115-102 win over the Mavs. Other finals to report: Pacers beat the Nets in OT, and it's the Jazz leading the Clippers as they play in the fourth. That is a fourth quarter score. College football, SMU could be facing the NCAA's death penalty if recent allegations prove to be true. University President Donald Shields said today a special meeting of the school's Board of Governors will be called to discuss charges that an assistant coach paid former player David Stanley thousands of dollars during his career with the Mustangs. The allegations say the payments were made after SMU was placed on its current probation. A violation of that probation could result in a 2-year suspension of the school's football program. Well, Austin's Travis High School has an uphill battle tomorrow night as the state football playoffs begin. The Rebels will entertain highly ranked Converse Judson at Memorial Stadium. But as Drew Spire reports, don't count Travis out against the powerful Rockets.
The Travis football players have been overachievers all season long. A perfect indication came earlier in the year when they were trailing Lanier late in the ballgame. That touchdown brought the Rebels to within 1 point. Then the Rebels scored on a 2-point conversion and pulled the game out by 1 point. It was an impressive victory by a very young football team.
We've got 5 seniors that have just done a tremendous job, coupled with our juniors that were lettermen last year. We had 5 juniors that lettered as sophomores, and we got 5 sophomores starting now. We have a good nucleus, even though they're young. They're playing some real good football.
On Friday night, Travis will be playing one of the best teams in the state, the Judson Rockets. And sure, the Rebels are going to be the underdog, but don't count out this Travis team just yet.
We're going to play. We're practicing and preparing, expecting to win, and that's. I mean, anytime you go into a contest, that's what you're doing, and that's not any different for if we play Judson or who we play in our district.
So it won't be a surprise to you. It might be a surprise to some other people if you pull off.
I'm sure there'd be a lot of people who'd be surprised.
The Rebels have already been a surprise to some, winning 8 of their first 9 ball games, and judging by the way the Rebels have been playing lately, doesn't look like they're ready to end their season anytime soon. Drew Spire, News 36 Sports, tonight.
Got a note for Ann from down under. Dennis Conner skippered his America 2 to a 91-second victory today in the America's Cup races off of, what is that, Fremantle, Australia? Fremantle, yes. Australia. So he's hanging in there. I think his boat is now in 2nd place in that competition.
He's going to have to work hard, and you're all going to have to work hard to get it away from us.
I think so.
Oh, we're working on it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rick.
Okay.
Still ahead on News 36 tonight, Jim Swift tells us about an extra special day for San Marcos girls.
We'll be back shortly. 50 Austin area patients are on a waiting list for kidney transplants, and while they wait, many are tied to cumbersome and restrictive dialysis treatments, and that's the bad news.
The good news is that at Brackenridge Hospital this year, surgical teams have performed 26 successful kidney transplants. Tonight, News 36's Jim Swift has the story of young Barbara Jean Wilson, who got her new kidney just 3 weeks ago.
I understand that all of the donor kidneys in the Central Texas area go to people waiting for transplants. That's right.
It was a big day for Barbara Jean Wilson. Not only was it her 15th birthday, but she was going to make the news. A reporter had come out from the local San Marcos newspaper to do an article about a medical success story. It was a story that had its beginnings over a year ago, when Barbara first noticed she was losing her strength.
I finally couldn't go to school because I was too weak and kept on laying around. Then I went to see him and told him that I wouldn't mind if they put me in the hospital. And so they did. And then that night I lost my kidneys. I was very sad. I didn't know what to do. Kept on praying to God to make a miracle happen. Tell him that to discover this one time that well, it was all a joke, but it wasn't.
For a year after that, the teenager's active lifestyle came to a virtual standstill. Thanks to advances in portable dialysis treatments, she was able to stay in school, but she could no longer run or swim, and 4 times a day, the fluid bag she carried at all times had to be emptied. It was no way for a young girl to have to live. Then, last month, came word that a kidney had been found for a transplant.
I didn't have no fear at all. It was just a breeze because I wasn't afraid because that Brackenridge is a good hospital. And I wasn't afraid at all.
And in fact, the surgery went without a hitch. When it was over, Barbara Jean Wilson sent a thank you note to what she suspects is the kind family of an accident victim.
I signed a grateful teenager, but I couldn't leave my name. And they don't know who I am, and I don't know who they are. And that's the way it works.
These days, Barbara talks a lot about becoming a doctor when she grows up. But for now, she's happy to be going back to school soon and to be moving freely about her world, untethered by dialysis tubes on her 15th birthday. It's kind of a good birthday present, isn't it?
It's a gift of life. Yeah.
Jim Swift, News 36, tonight.
And happy birthday to you, Barbara Jean. What a wonderful story.
That's right. We hope you'll join us tomorrow for our neighborhood newscast in Dripping Springs. We hope all of you will join us. Have a good night.
See you then.